Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Fix It and solutions for fixing problems. So the first thing I'm going to do is give a little bit of a talk on the thing that I want to do the fix it on. Today I've chosen to do a fix it on my husband's suit. Now first of all, let's just talk a little bit about the topic of men's clothing. If I look back on and reflect on my own learning curve, it started off, I had 3 boys and it was very late that I had my daughter, and I started sewing quite young. I used to do my own, but away from that I had the boys and I did a lot of clothing for boys. Since I had my daughter, I actually neglected my boys, and I also, to be honest, I've always really neglected doing anything for my husband as well. So when I moved into the basement here, one of the first things that he requested me to do was he went to Pakistan and he bought loads of suits stitched up for himself, but they were ill-fitting, and the poor guy's been wearing those and really never asked me to do any amendments for him. So to be honest, I owed him that much, and when he requested that I do this for him, I thought, you know what, it's about time I gave him some consideration. Now, to be honest, we should all take pride in the way our men dress. My husband actually dresses in traditional salwar kameez, and he feels comfortable in that, and he's happy to wear his salwar kameez. He always wears this sort of like a beigey light color, and he went to Pakistan and he bought quite a few karandi suits. Now a little bit of a talk about karandi. First of all, karandi is a fabric that is quite stiff and it does need to be sewn right, otherwise you will have problems with it. Now what's happened with these suits is he is quite slim, and the clothes have been sewn sort of a little bit too sized, a size or two bigger. Now with karandi, it's quite a heavy fabric, and they tend to be quite heavy and stand out a bit. So he's requested that I amend these. So he's actually worn this perhaps once or twice. Karandi needs a good few washes to make it softer, but anyway, this is a suit that he's perfectly happy with, so we're going to amend this. There's a few things that I've pulled apart. I've taken off the existing poncha leer that was attached, and I'm going to reuse this. Obviously we haven't got any more spare fabric, so at least this saves me the fact that I don't have to do the stitching on the whole of the suit. Now with men's salwara, they should be above ankle, so really, to be honest, I could do with this, doing it to exactly the same so that it comes out marginally shorter. And also he requested that he didn't want the salwar very heavy, because this fabric karandi is quite heavy. The fabric on top is quite a flowy fabric, so we've got 2 different textures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it slightly bit smaller than this one, and then the poncha and the rest of the salwar I'm going to actually make it to this size. So what I've done with this existing salwar is I've unpicked the poncha, and the rest I've just turned it inside out, pressed it so that it's all evened up, and then what we're going to do is, having marked it, I'm just going to chop away the excess. So this is the modification that we're going to be doing on the salwar. I didn't ask to have this part unpicked because I knew that this was going to get cut up and it didn't really need to be unpicked. The only thing we're going to do is I'm going to take away the poncha part close to the seaming so that I can use. Now what they've used in here is like a woolly type of interfacing. It's not like your stiff interfacing that's used on the female version. And then because the fabric is quite heavy, and it's like quite a few layers. What we can do is do this in 2 goes so that it's easy to cut up. Now the only other thing that we need to do with this now is we're going to be using the same, we're going to take away this fluffy bit, and we're going to be using perhaps some more interfacing inside this.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.